you think they ever put toys in a Wheaties box?
What sort of toy do you think is gonna come in a Wheaties
I
box?
was hoping maybe a John McEnroe tennis spoon or something like that in there.
Yeah, I don't think John McEnroe was even on a Wheaties box.
You know, there was a lot of people who were on the Wheaties box in the 80s.
Why do I get the idea that we're about to talk about this?
Maybe there's a Richard Simmons weight loss Dakota ring in there.
The 80s had some great sports figures, that's for sure.
Or maybe a Greg Louganis x-ray goggles.
While Jeff's looking for his cereal toy, join us today as we talk about significant and great sports figures from the 80s.
Hey, you know, this must be that John McEnroe spoon. He looks pretty angry. Oh, right after this.
Don't come round and waste my time. A generation of my time. There is nothing we can do. Stop this plague from breaking through.
Welcome to Whiskey Pop. My name's Jeff.
And I'm Zane.
Hey, Zane, are we talking like 80 sports figures today?
I think that we are talking about like 80 sports figures today.
You know, we haven't done a lot of sports stuff.
No, we don't, and that's because why?
I don't know.
I like sports.
Well, I like sports too. It's like, why haven't we not done any sports episodes?
I think it's because we were just saving the choice moment for today.
Oh, that's right, because we just had the Olympics recently, so I mean, it'd be a good time to bring that all up again.
Yeah, well, shall we?
No, we shan't. But one thing we can bring up is, what do we usually have before we start talking about some other stuff?
Whiskey.
Whiskey.
That's correct.
And today's whiskey is Traveler Whiskey. It's blend number 40.
Blend number 40. Not to be confused with blend number 38.
This is made in conjunction with Buffalo Trace.
Actually, I did hear that.
This is also a celebrity whiskey.
And I just have you guys know that when you drive through certain regions of the world, their gas stations sell all kinds of Buffalo Trace items for real cheap.
Really?
Yes.
We should travel more.
We should travel more.
But for now, we'll just
Oh.
crack this open. You ready to do this?
Oh, I'm so ready to do this.
Let's smell this. Oh. Oh.
I can tell you it does not smell like yesterday's aftershave.
Were you drinking yesterday's aftershave?
Hey,
The cabinet that empty over your place?
oh, stop it. I'm gonna take a little sip and then go from there.
Let's go for it.
So what do we end up doing with said whiskey usually?
So next Friday we will take
Yes.
this said whiskey, Traveler Whiskey, and we will said review this said whiskey and tell you what we thought about it.
I want to talk about what I'm tasting right now.
I do too, because I actually want to taste some more of it right
Yeah,
now.
but we can't. Right now, we got to talk about why
Sports figures.
sports figures are amazing, especially in the 80s.
About time.
Hey, it is about time. I mean, I just couldn't get the ball in the hole. I wanted to, but I just couldn't do it.
And I know we're always saying on this show that the 80s was the greatest decade of all time, which I think it was.
It probably was.
But sports in the 80s were probably the greatest sports of all time.
You were still required to play by the rules.
You were required to play. I
Yeah.
mean, if basketball players today, they just get a sprained pinky and they don't play for 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Oh, and they can also, take 17 steps and it's still not called traveling.
That's very true. But before we talk about basketball,
We need to talk about the power of the name of Mike.
great mics have always existed. You know that?
Always.
Michael Jordan,
Yes.
Michael Jackson,
Yes.
Mike and Ike's,
Yes.
Mike Myers.
But those are not all sports figures.
Oh, well, Michael
But they're
Jordan
great.
is.
But they're great mics. And so was Mike Tyson.
But Mike Tyson is the big one. I
Okay.
mean, Mike Tyson, dude, in the 80s. Was there anybody that was bigger?
I mean, let's face this. He had a Nintendo game.
Beat 'em all, and you've got a shot at Tyson's title. But for that, you've got to beat Mike Tyson.
And Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
And it was great. And he was the icon of that era, really.
Oh,
It really
man.
was.
I mean, think about it. This is a 20-year-old man who came on the scene,
Oh, yeah.
who became a heavyweight champion at the youngest age of any heavyweight champion ever.
Which is incredible.
He usually knocked out most of his opponents within a few minutes.
Yeah.
But most of the time, most of them were knocked out in the first round.
And it was legendary. I mean, it brought the idea of, hey, let's go ahead and watch this boxing match to everybody, because they were like, something's gonna happen. It was magic.
I almost swear, if I remember right, pay-per-view started about the same time as Mike Tyson.
I do know this much. I have heard stories about people paying, like, back then, like $40 for the pay-per-view, and the fight only lasted like 32 seconds or something.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, what? They're like, I just paid that kind of cash
I
for
remember
this?
people were pissed because they're like, it was like
Yes.
13. It was like one of
Yes.
those. What was her name for the UFC there for a while?
Ronda Rousey.
And she had like 14-second games, you know.
Well, those matches, but, or whatever's.
Whatever's.
What you're trying to say is a really quick.
So Tyson was
Knockout.
like the start of all that. He was the guy who set the bar for how you can knock somebody out and make you spend $50.
I'm gonna show you how to knock somebody out. Right there.
Ding, ding.
Okay, so football.
Okay, football.
There's so much going on in football in the 80s. We could have an entire episode just about 80s football.
We could have an entire episode just about one particular team, actually, during the 80s. if
Washington
we wanted
Redskins,
to.
Dallas Cowboys. No, we're talking about.
Let me give a shout out to my cousin, who's a big fan of the Chicago Bears, and the 85 Chicago Bears specifically.
Oh, like
is-
the William Refrigerator Perry.
who I just so happen to have the G.I. Joe action figure of, because during that time period, I was a huge G.I. Joe fan.
He's getting mad. He's getting mean. He's breaking the line for the G.I. Joe team.
That's right, it's William the Refrigerator Perry.
The bridge is destroying G.I. Joe.
The Bears were really big in the 80s, especially in 1985, because they even cut a single.
We are the Bears, shuffling crew, shuffling on down, doing it for you. We're so bad, we know we're good, blowing your mind like we knew we would. You know we're just strutting for fun, strutting our stuff for everyone. We're not here to start no trouble. We're just here to do the Super Bowl show.
Well, they call me sweetness, and I like to dance. Running the ball is like making more mans.
Listen, what you just saw was a snippet of the hardest 5 minutes in 42 seconds? There is to watch in sports history here.
That is, I promise you though, that is the culmination of the 80s right there.
It's like they thought they were cool, but they were cheesy.
Refrigerator Perry sitting there singing and doing a rap, and you have tons of guys who have no business, who probably ever rapped in their life.
Tim McMahon looked like he was 12 years old. This is nuts. This is terrible. But that team was a phenomenon.
They were in McDonald's commercials. They were in local commercials in Chicago. Refrigerator Perry was in McDonald's commercials by himself.
That gappy smile that he had.
Lunch.
Sports was kind of a big part of the 80s.
It was a pop culture thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I had a William Refrigerator Perry t-shirt.
You probably did.
And I didn't even really, I wasn't a Bears fan,
Yeah, well,
but I was a Fridge fan.
you were a Fridge fan.
And when he made that touchdown, and I think it was in the Super Bowl, they said that was the first ever in the Super Bowl where a refrigerator made a touchdown.
Oh, stop it. It hurts so bad. The jokes are coming so long.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Okay, so the Olympics was recently.
Yes, the Olympics. But
And it's kind of been tainted, right? Because that whole thing at the beginning of it.
There's a big tape in it, that's for sure.
So, regardless of that, I think the Olympics in the 80s, especially the 1984 Olympics, right,
Oh,
was probably one of the most widely watched
Absolutely.
and remembered Olympics. I mean, there were so many greats that came out of just that Olympic period at all.
Yeah.
But there was this one real special gal
Oh, yeah.
that just blew us all away, and that was Mary Lou Retton.
she was the sweetheart, let's say.
Oh, God, yeah.
Of the scene.
She became America's sweetheart.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, but was she about 5'2"?
Little tiny thing, but a beast.
She was a powerhouse. I mean, and this was the first time that the Americans took the gold.
Oh, the first female.
It was right,
Yeah.
and that was like unheard of. Of course, they had the coach who was just as famous. What was his name?
Lyra Schniftenkopf.
Bella and Martha, whatever. They're the ones that
Schnorgensen.
This is the one recently where they found that doctor had been like doing wrong things to them.
Yeah,
They didn't know about that was going on, but they ran from Russia, came to America. Next thing you know, America
story.
wins gymnast.
Yeah, that's because, well, hey, that's a coincidence, right?
You got it.
You think this next guy should go in the Hall of Fame?
Well, I like to refer to him as Petey Rose.
Pete fucking Rose. He has to be one of the greatest baseball players of all time.
He's hands down in the short list of the greatest baseball players of all time.
And he's not in the Hall of Fame.
That's right, because, you know, when you are caught betting on baseball,
It was a cardinal sin, and so you could never be allowed to be in part of baseball ever again. I mean, of all the great things that Pete Rose accomplished in the Cincinnati Reds, right?
yeah.
That's all forgotten because of getting
Hey.
caught betting on baseball.
Attitude has a lot to do with it, and he is kind of a douche.
I think as he's gotten older, though, he's gotten less douchey.
Well, it's definitely not less humble, but the whole thing
No.
is like, you can bet on baseball now. It's like everywhere.
Yeah, and I feel like there's some people who think that, you know, he's served his time.
Yeah.
He should be allowed to at least be on the ballot to maybe go in the Hall of Fame. But I just watched videos recently of interviews of like old Tommy Lasorda,
Yeah.
Johnny Bench, all these Hall of Famers, like, he never should be in the Hall of Fame. They still don't forgive him
They argue,
today.
well, you know, he was betting on baseball, so he's throwing games possibly. But like we talked about, Jeffrey and I, you watched him play like the All-Star game, and he is just like going madman crazy trying to win the game.
Like he's trying to win the World Series.
he's sliding in, you know, hitting people, you know.
Dude, I saw a video where he
he
jumps like 20 feet from the home plate, and he's like airborne, straight out parallel, you know, to the ground, and then arms down, slides in the home plate. And I'm like, that had to hurt.
Yeah, he's doing this for games that don't even matter.
Yeah,
then
it was just a regular game.
He played like that for his regular games, all of them.
Yeah.
Now, I know where they're trying to get him is because when he was like part of the management and all that, you know. And
Well, he was one of those rare cases where he managed and played at the exact same time. So through 84 to 86, he was not only was he a player, he was managing the team, and that's when he got in all that trouble.
And the thing is though, I mean, like, you've got the entire rest of the team that plays ball.
Yeah, I'm sure they.
You know, throwing a game of baseball is pretty hard.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine them like letting him throw a game.
And there's no, like I said, there's no proof of that.
No, actually, there was never any proof of it. They just caught him gambling.
Yeah, and so there we go.
But I will say, recently I saw an interview with him, and you know what he was doing?
He was gambling.
Gambling.
I ain't seen a beating like that since somebody stuck a banana in my pants and turned the monkey loose.
Okay, so this next baseball player, right, not only played baseball,
But he was one of the greatest football players.
but he was a great football player,
This
too.
is probably, okay, now I'm gonna throw this one out there. This is probably, in essence, the greatest athlete to have ever lived.
That's saying a lot, because there's been a lot of great athletes.
Yeah, but who else could we be talking about other than
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson.
Bo Diddley.
Bo knows.
Yeah.
Diddley. He was a phenom on the football field and in the baseball field.
Nike loved him. I mean, they used him for almost every commercial.
Highlight Reel. That's what his name should have been. Bo Highlight Reel Jackson.
He'd go play baseball one season and then be at the football the next season.
If you played Tecmo Super Bowl on the Nintendo, you could beat anyone as long as you had Bo Jackson on your team.
I think that was set up that way, though. I think he was like a spam character.
It was accurate to his skill set.
That's no fair. Bo Jackson's too fast.
Guys, do we want Cleveland back or don't? Oh, here we go. Bye-bye.
See, Peter, he's too fast.
Bo Jackson, though?
He was legit.
He was legit. So maybe not only there's great mics, there might be some great bows. Bose speakers and
Oh, well, we're really stretching it now, though.
Regardless of the fact that we started off today with a box of Wheaties with Billie Jean King on the front.
Besides that,
there was one tennis player that really stood out in the 80s.
That was John McEnroe.
That guy had the worst attitude of any player I had ever seen on TV.
Dude, it was angry from the beginning.
And it was always somebody else's fault.
It was never John's fault.
No, it was always someone wrong.
Somebody else was always wrong.
Yeah, I mean, did you not see that? Did you
Until
not see
they
that?
replay it for the TV audience, and then they show, oh well, maybe John was wrong.
I mean, I think he said the term "you can't be serious"
You can't be serious.
at least 100 times during one game.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious.
You are the worst official in the history of Shakmataka.
And he was great at temper tantrums.
Oh, he was great.
He was so good at temper tantrums, he would piss off the people in the stands.
Oh, yeah.
And they would be yelling at him, cussing at him.
They'd be so mad. And actually, it's really entertaining.
It was, actually. And I don't think he's ever been on a Wii box. But, you know, they took that. I remember he was in movies later where he'd show up in a movie and everybody's expected to have a bad attitude. He was like this super nice guy.
Yeah, well, that's not true.
Do you really think John McEnroe really is an asshole?
Oh, A-class.
Yeah, I think he's an asshole.
He's an asshole. But everybody loves a good asshole. Wait.
I like hockey. I have to preface this with I like hockey.
I do like hockey.
I don't love hockey, but I do like hockey.
I do like hockey.
My wife loves hockey.
Yeah.
I think she just likes watching guys beat the shit out of each other. But
Sure.
She likes hockey.
We have a local team. We go watch them play.
And she screams at them as they're knocking the shit out of each other.
That's great.
But there was one player in the 80s who, even today, stands out of all the players of all time. People still consider him the greatest athlete of all time.
He is the greatest athlete of his sport in comparison to all the other greats of their sports.
Yep, easily.
He's better at his sport than anybody else is good at their sport.
I guess that's why they call him the Great One.
Yes. And who are we talking about?
Oh, Wayne Gretzky. You know, I saw something recently. Wayne never lost any of his teeth while playing professionally.
That just doesn't seem possible.
But when he was 10, he lost the front 5 teeth shortly after he had his braces removed.
Now that's a bummer. Oh my gosh.
And he said his parents barely could afford braces at that time. Gets the braces out, goes and plays, gets hit right across the face with a stick, teeth out.
That would have been devastating. I mean, think about
parents
that.
were probably still trying to pay off the braces.
Oh my God. They're like, well, we're not doing it again.
No, so he has caps on all of his.
I mean, we have so many stats we could have for Wayne, but the whole point is you tell us.
Is there somebody better?
There's not. But
It can't be, right?
But like I said, he's the best at his sport in over and above than anybody else is in their sport. He's the greatest.
Well, here's how you measure that. When you ask somebody to name a hockey player,
Yeah, well. Oh, there's Brett Hull.
nobody says that.
Well, there's
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky. So we can't get through this without at least talking about basketball.
Oh yeah, and then there's several names for basketball.
And I mean, let's clarify. We realize that there was way more in the 80s in sports figures than what we've even talked about so far.
Oh, absolutely. But if we're gonna talk basketball, we gotta talk about basketball in the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s.
We'll try to not overlap to the 90s, of course.
It's hard not to
But
sometimes.
some of these guys overlap.
They overlap.
to the 90s.
I think the first we have to talk about is Larry Bird.
He's one of the greatest of all time.
He's the greatest three-point shoot of all time. I think he won the three-point shot 3 times in a row.
Well, he's got master ball handling skills. He talks trash better than anybody else. He backs it up. He's great at defense, offense.
I've never seen somebody fake a player so well. He was so good at like even getting to where he put his arms past the guy and the guy's already looking behind him. And he's already pulling the ball back and shooting before that guy realized, you just got played, dude.
Some people are highlight reels, and he's definitely one of them.
Yeah, go back and watch some old highlight reels of Larry Bird. You're going to be like, they don't play like that
They don't play
anymore.
like no. Bird was great.
Bird was great.
Bird was great.
He was MVP 3 years in a row.
That's right.
So, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, 3 years in a row. Now, there are some who've been MVP more.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know there's any that were 3 years in a row.
Well, there might be, but
In the 80s?
I don't know. Not the 80s.
See, look that up and you tell us.
Maybe the 90s.
Well, we're not talking about the 90s today.
However, we're going to talk about somebody else that was pretty amazing.
That's
Very
another-
magical.
Yeah, it's so magical that we have to put the word in the middle of his name.
Okay, which is
Magic fucking Johnson.
one of the greatest ball handlers in the history of the game.
Nobody had ball skills like Magic Johnson.
If I was setting up my own fantasy team, and I've had conversations about this,
Oh yeah,
and I was like, who are you gonna pick for your point guard to be your ball handler?
Magic Johnson.
It's Magic.
Yeah.
No, nobody else.
And he was the king of the guy who knew that he could throw a ball to it, you know, for an assist, and not even look at him. I mean, he'd be like,
It was magic. It was like he knew his spatial awareness and his court awareness, like
it's
everybody
off the
was.
charts.
Yeah, it was off the charts.
That's why they called him Magic, because they don't know how a person could do that with a basketball.
Yeah, it was incredible. His talent level was insane. And you want to talk about highlight reels?
That's a highlight reel you do not want to miss.
It's great. It's again, we're talking about why the '80s was so amazing in sports.
That's a good example.
That's another major example. And if you haven't done yourself a favor, you need to see this. You do it now. Do yourself a favor. Do it now. Watch some highlights.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, most of y'all have already probably lived through the highlights, like
the rest of us old farts.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Now, we can't begin. And I know this is the one that crosses over into the 90s, but it started in the 80s.
It started.
And he probably, to me, is probably the greatest athlete of all time.
Well, yeah. I mean, aren't that who all we're talking about?
Is there anybody that's even more recognizable than this? And this is a Mike.
It is Mike. And of course, it's unsurprising who this would be.
He's got shoes named after him.
Yeah.
And it's Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, right.
the kid was rookie of the year. he was the best of everything leading up to his championships.
Which, again, we're trying to keep it all in the 80s as far as the statistics are concerned.
He was on the dream team in the 1984 Olympics.
Yes.
And got gold in that. Do you think they would have got gold without Jordan there? No way. King of Air. I used to think that guy could literally fly.
Well, he does fly, but he just lets it look like he comes back down to the ground so that all of us would not catch on that he's like an immortal or something.
NBA score leader from 1986 to 1998.
Now,
he skipped 1 year. You know what year he skipped that?
Let me guess. When he went to go try to play for
when
the White
he went
Sox?
played baseball, retired and went played baseball. He came back and led again.
That doesn't seem right, but maybe it is.
Go look it up.
Fact check us because that would be interesting. Are you
NBA
serious?
scoring leader from 1986 to 1994 when he stopped playing.
Yes,
Came back, and then from 1996 to 1998, once again, man hadn't played for a whole year and he still scored better than everybody else.
Incredible.
But I think about it. Is there anybody on the planet that wouldn't see him and immediately recognize Michael Jordan?
Yeah, I at this point probably not. I mean, especially if they have any inkling of sports and history.
There's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way.
No way.
What about you? Did we miss a sports figure from the 80s that you really wish we would have talked about today?
If we did, you should probably let us know.
Down below in the comments. Tell Zane all about it.
Tell him how I missed it. And
yeah.
You know, and then while you're down there in the comments, don't forget to look at our little notification bell.
Yeah, ding or dong.
Because that's the way that you get to know when we have something else coming out just for you.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because then you'll know when we're going to do reviews like for this Traveler Whiskey.
Which we're doing this Friday.
Next Friday. This is Friday.
It's next Friday.
Next Friday.
Next Friday.
Where we will review Traveler Whiskey and let you know all about it and if you should go out and grab you a bottle if you haven't already.
But hey, go grab your bottle and
share it with us
while we do the review.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it'll be fun.
So in the meantime, you guys seem to be cool, and we will see you next Friday for Second Port.
Second Port will be.
And then another whiskey pop after that.
So, until then, cheers.
Cheers.